Okay, this video is called Book Review, How to Help Heal Yourself from Cancer. It's about this book by William Sears, Help Heal Yourself from Cancer. And so what I'm going to say about this book is a two-part review. On the first part, what did he do right? The guy has a very pleasant style of writing, a pleasant style of speaking. You know, he's been a doctor a long time. His wife is a nurse, so he knows how to talk to people. He gives clear advice. He's very good on psychology of healing, on the social components of healing, on recommendations, exercise. All of that is good. I'll give him credit for that. He's good. He writes clearly, concisely, and in a pleasant, nice way with a lot of little rhyming slogans. All of that is good. Okay, but what's bad about this book? In my opinion, he totally screws up when it comes to his diet advice. Now, by the way, he's not the only one. He recommends ketogenic diet and meat and fish, which in my opinion is completely ignorant and stupid. Okay, now just to be, fair, here's another book called Tripping Over the Truth about cancer. This one is written by Travis Christofferson. This is a valuable book. I actually recommend you should read it because it helps you to understand the biochemistry and pathophysiology of cancer, and that's useful. This guy, Travis Christofferson, where is this name over here? He is a good teacher of biochemistry, and he's sort of friends with that other guy, his last name is Seyfried. I think it's Thomas Seyfried, out of Boston. And in my opinion, the guy's very smart about explaining the metabolic theory of cancer. And I think the metabolic theory of cancer is by far better than the somatic mutation theory. I think the somatic mutation theory, in my opinion, from what I read, it's essentially been refuted, okay? Not everybody would agree with that. A lot of powerful, high-up people would not agree with that. But from what I can read and tell, it seems like it's a very minor thing compared to the metabolic theory is a massive important thing. So what am I getting at? That I'm saying is not just Dr. Sears. There's a lot of smart, educated people who study cancer for a living who recommend the ketogenic diet. But in my opinion, they're ignoramuses. And the reason I will tell you that is when you start studying the biochemistry, it's pretty obvious it's not a good way to go. And if you look at this book, for example, he doesn't even mention the China study. It's not in the index. T Colin Campbell is not in the index. There's nothing about hemorheology. There's nothing about mTOR. There's no evidence whatsoever, none, of a sophisticated understanding of nutrition, analysis of nutrition, and of things like insulin-like growth factor regarding cancer causation and how meat increases that. I mean, he's recommending wild game every week, like venison, for example. He says if you're going to eat other meat, it should be grass-fed, organic. He says eggs are okay. Dark chocolates, he recommends flax oil, kefir and yogurt, dairy products, MCT oil, coconut oil, olive oil. Salmon he recommends, especially wild salmon. Salmon's 50% fat, 50% protein. In my opinion, these are crazy recommendations. They make no sense. The only way these make any sense is if you start going down the path. Seyfried also recommends ketogenic diet. And that's despite being a so-called expert in cancer. And you would say to yourself, how could doctors be recommending totally opposite things, the exact opposite? And I will tell you, here's how it is. Most doctors, if you actually really know them, and I know them, I talk to doctors every day. I've been a doctor 30 years. There's a lot of doctors who are excellent in one narrow area. But the problem is these big complex problems like understanding diabetes, understanding cancer, you can't just know one area. You have to read a wide range of nutrition information, biochemistry information, and pathophysiology in order to make sense of stuff, okay? And these guys don't know it. They don't know. He doesn't know anything about nutrition. He doesn't know hemorheology. He doesn't know any of this stuff. He hasn't read China study. How could he read China study and not comment on it, okay? And here's what else is funny. The same company that published this book, Ben Bella, they also published China study, which just goes to show you a publisher wants to make money. Years ago when I tried to contact a publishing company, they told me, look, you have a great idea, but it doesn't matter. They said the only thing that really matters for selling a book is that the author's famous so we can market them. Okay, they have to have a platform, if you will, that's going to market their book. So basically, a book could be completely wrong, but if it's written by a celebrity, it'll get published because that'll sell. And another book could be perfect, but it don't matter. If it's not going to sell, what's the point of publishing it for a publishing company? So, thank God for self-publishing nowadays, but, the hardest thing is not that hard to write a book. It's hard to market a book, though. Okay, so anyways, I thought that was kind of funny that they're saying the exact opposite thing. Rule number one of an anti-cancer diet is no animal foods. animal foods don't just increase cancer in one way. They increase cancer in over 30 ways. I gave a lecture on that before. And then I'll also show you something too. Also, he's got lots of testimonials by all these university professors, MD, PhD. In my opinion, it's all a joke. None of them knows what they're talking about. And that's the important thing to realize is a lot of the so-called MD, PhD experts, they don't even know what they're talking about. And I'm not saying they know a little bit what they're talking about. They are absolute ignoramuses. All right, now I'm going to show you a book that's a sleeper book. Here's a book called Radical Remission by Kelly Turner. And she's a PhD. And I can tell you, off the cuff, the way a lot of doctors think, they would say, well, she's a joke. Sears is a, kind of a famous MD physician. She's a PhD, and her PhD, who knows what the heck it's in. It's not even, I don't even know if it's in a science field, okay? And you say, well, why should anybody take Kelly Turner seriously? Okay, and I'll tell you why I take Kelly Turner seriously. She worked in a cancer center, and she was face-to-face with these cancer patients, and she saw that there were some people who survived metastatic cancer. So she was smart enough to ask herself, why do some people survive metastatic cancer? And she went and studied the people who survived metastatic cancer. She went and interviewed them. She went and read the case reports on them. You'll never find a big study of them because it doesn't exist. But what I'm trying to say is her book came from the heart, and she just wanted to get the answer. How can you potentially save these metastatic cancer patients? So her book is good. Yeah, there's moments in it where it's ignorant and stuff, but it's overall pretty good. Anyways, so what would I tell you about this book? It's decent for telling you the psychology stuff, the exercise stuff. A lot of that you can learn anywhere. That information is relatively widely available, but he does a good job of writing about that. And the guy's pleasant, he's likable, and he does have a good story. He himself has survived, colon cancer many years, and he has survived another type of cancer. He's got some other type of cancer. I think it's CML. His wife, I think, had breast cancer or something. But I'm still making the point. This guy's very famous, got all the bells and whistles, all the big recommendations. And in my opinion, he's a complete ignoramus. And then here's some little lady, not even an MD. What nerve does she have to write about cancer? And she's completely right. Her heart is totally in the right place. She's doing the best she can to figure it out and really help people. And her nutritional advice is 10 times better than this guy. And that's a lot of times how it is. So anyways, I'll leave it at that for this.